Hello, people. Welcome to Main Event Boxing Talk. I've got Tom with me here, and I've got Spencer. How are you, Tom?
Doing quite well, my friend. How is it over there on the other side of the world?
I'm good. Yeah. How are you, Spencer?
I'm all right. And yourself?
Very good. Yeah. Right. So let's kick things off. Who wants to start first with the Canelo Bivol fight? A big upset.
Yeah,
Spencer and I didn't think it was going to be that big of an upset if Bivol did what he was supposed to do, right?
exactly. That's what I was going to say. He was the favorite, so it was an upset in that sense, but it wasn't like, truth be told, Bivol was a good boxer. He stuck behind the jab. He didn't give it up, and he pushed forward. He even said something that kind of like laid out why he won so easily, in my opinion. Canelo is a counterpuncher. So
Right.
he waits for the people to come forward so he could counterpunch. He was making Canelo kind of like start out and not be able to counterpunch. So he was counterpuncher and the counterpuncher basically.
Yeah.
Or he would start out something knowing Canelo's going to try to counterpunch, and then he's going to, react to what he was trying to, like, traps that he was trying to lay, so to speak. I mean, he did a phenomenal job. Great job. Kudos to Bivol. I'm not sure about the rematch because they was saying beforehand that Canelo had a rematch clause, so I'm not sure how that's going to play out. And Bivol also said he wants Peterbiev or Joe Smith winner. Anyway.
Well, I think I agree with you, Spencer. The way I saw it was that he had no plan B and he got tired. And now he was punching really hard. You could hear how hard he was punching, but he was landing mostly on the arms. I only saw two good punches landed. One was an uppercut where he smothered him and pushed his gloves up and got through, but it wasn't flush. And he hit him with a good right hand. The rest of the time, all of those punches were landing on his arms or missing. And when he couldn't get to him, he did stupid things like back up and drop his hands, and he gave Bivol the opportunity to punch. Bivol would let him punch, and before he could get his guard back, he'd counter with a 1-2, and then he'd push him back, and then he had him at the end of the jab. There was no way, and Canelo didn't know what to do,
And Bivol even mentioned that too, that he was like, Canelo was just throwing power punches. He knew he was going to get tired after a while. He wasn't going to be able to keep that up. So, yeah, Bivol he definitely showed that he's a top guy. I would definitely like to see him fight somebody like Peterbiev because you could see the difference now. Like the other guys that he was fighting, it seemed like he was just going through the motions, the past winners, because he was taking guys in most people's estimations the distance that he shouldn't have been going the distance with these guys. So so that kind of
but his team has a defense first mentality. Protect yourself first. If you don't risk getting caught throwing punches, that you don't need to throw. And they did that here, except when he had the opportunity, he unloaded on Canelo with very fast combinations. Straight down the middle. No wide punches, straight down the middle.
Yes, he did. He did.
Canelo didn't know how to. It looked like he was fighting GGG there for a moment when GGG did that and back him up into the ropes,
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there you go.
And the other thing I want to make a mention of, the scorecards on this fight.
Oh.
I do not know how they gave Canelo 5 rounds, and all of the scorecards were identical. So that means, and each one of them, they had Canelo win in the first 4, Bivol win in the next 4, and then Canelo win in the first 4, Bivol win in the next 5. I think Canelo won, 10, and then they gave 11 and 12 to Bivol. Now, that's kind of shocking because I didn't see that.
Neither did I.
And it's rare that every single judge sees all the cards, like all the cards are identical. And I did not see Canelo win in the first 4 rounds.
Let me say this. In those first 4 rounds, they were close, but Canelo was throwing punches and they weren't landing. They were landing on, and he was moving forward, except for when Bibble was keeping him at the end of the jab, backing him up. But Bivol was scoring the landing punches. So maybe these judges are looking from the back, they don't see it. But it was interesting you say that, because I listened to Teddy Atlas, and Teddy saying, how do you fix a fight? Well, with that happening, they could all agree on that, and then they wait and see like how it plays out towards the end, and then they could adjust the rounds. But it was too much of a conspiracy theory for me.
Listen, I had made a brief mention. I'm like, wait, all the cards were the same, identical. The first 8 rounds, I just figured they gave them both for even rounds up until the 8th, and they're gonna like start watching the fight in the 9th round. Hopefully it lasts the 9th round, but they're gonna start watching the fight in the 9th round, and whoever wins the last 4 rounds wins the fight. And that's
do you remember we said last time we talked, you guys, that he had trouble with Kovalev until he caught Kovalev, and Kovalev was getting tired. This guy,
right.
And Kovalev was beating him with the jab. He had welts, and then he happened to catch Kovalev when he didn't catch this guy. But interesting, where is Nathan? Nathan, are you here? Nathan, come back. Nathan picked Canelo by knockout.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah,
do you remember you picked him by?
Yeah, I
what
thought.
Made you think that?
I just got it wrong there, didn't I? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
but this is common when people are big punchers. They don't give the boxing side of it enough credit.
Right. I mean, I also said that Canelo might stop him late because of him being able to counter the jab or whatever, because of what we was just mentioning. Kovalev was catching him, and Kovalev got a strong power jab, and he was able to withstand the jab. I thought Kovalev's jab was a little bit stronger than Bivol's. Bivol's showed his was more accurate, more active.
Faster.
And it was faster. So he what he didn't have in strength, he had in other attributes that kind of took me for a loop. Because remember, I said Canelo late stoppage, probably 10 or 11. They probably call it, but I was mistaken. I was totally mistaken. I thought that Bivol was going to follow behind the jab and do a great job for the first 7 to 8 rounds, but then Canelo's body work might start to take into the play.
Yeah,
he tried, but Bivol didn't do that. Right, Bivol didn't allow that, rather.
My real opinion is, I think it's more to do with Bivol's style. Not that he's a better fighter. I just think it's to do with the style, stylistically, and the way his dimensions are. He's just too big.
I think it was the plan to beat him, period. I always said the guy who could beat him has to move and has to keep him at the end of the jab and back him up. And that's exactly what he did.
But Bivol's not going to beat Beterbiev fighting like that.
No,
I have to say,
so.
I think in a couple of months, Bivol, that was only Bivol's 20th.
No, but it definitely brings that fight more interest.
Yes.
More 50-50, yeah.
Let me ask you guys this question. Were you happily surprised he lost?
No. I don't really care about, I'm not a Canelo fan or Canelo hater. I acknowledge what he does and how he is the so-called face of the sport. So he tries to put on fights that kind of draw in people. I don't knock the opponents that he has like a lot of other people do. I know a lot of people, say that he should have asterisk next to his name because he either weight drains or he puts conditions on opponents. But I don't.
Do you know how
I don't see it like that?
Yeah. Do you know how I put it? All the greatest fighters have left. Muhammad Ali lost 5 times. Sugar Ray Robinson lost the title 5 times. 2 losses, it don't mean anything. For me,
I got to hang some of this on his trainer, because he's fought the same way the last 4 or 5 fights, the same game plan.
Yep.
And I don't think they gave Bivol enough credit. I thought they thought he was going to run, he was going to be afraid, all of this. They didn't plan for a different outcome. They didn't have a plan B. And I got to go with either that or Canelo didn't train the way he should, or they took him too lightly, whatever. Do you think he can win a rematch?
I don't know, because they want to do it at 168. That means that Bivol would have to come down and do some like weight loss in his camp. And if they do it for September, him draining 7 pounds in
Yeah.
that time
For me,
frame
are they going to
might be a
have
lot on him.
Bivol fight Canelo at super middleweight?
That's what I'm
I
talking
don't.
about.
But it doesn't
That's
You
what
know
I'm
make
talking
what?
about.
for Bivol.
Because remember, Bivol has said he'll go down to 168 to fight
Doesn't
Canelo.
make any sense.
Yeah,
Don't make any sense.
no.
I know it's a
If he
big money
wants the
fight.
light heavyweight championship, he's got to fight him at 175.
Yeah, I think the
He
problem
gotta.
is, yeah,
He would have to do that to get that crown. But if Bivol want to be like, I mean, this is really far thinking. But if Bivol wanted to become the two-time undisputed heavyweight, I mean, two-time undisputed champ in two different weight classes, rather, he
Yeah.
can go fight Canelo in September and take all his belts, and then
Right.
fight Bivol. I mean, and then fight the Berterbiev Smith winner at the end of the year and become the undisputed
For
in
me,
that weight class.
that could be dangerous for him going down because that could put Canelo at a slight advantage. And
That's
also,
what
yeah,
I was just about to say. That's what I was mentioning, Nathan, about him coming down in such a short time because Canelo's going to want to fight in September.
but for me, I think Bivol is a flash in the pan. He's a guy that may unify the belts, but he's not going to be around long term. Seriously. I think he'll end up going up to cruiserweight. I think he'd probably better up looking at a different way. And I'd like to say, I think Canelo, I mean, he's already won a belt at super light heavyweight. Doesn't mean he's got nothing left to prove, If he could, still reckon he could go up to cruiserweight and beat McCarthy.
I don't think he's a flash in the pan. I mean, the guy's a world amateur champion. He's undefeated, in his division. But he is a small. He is a small light heavyweight. Yeah. He is a small. If you look at him against Joe Smith was bigger than him.
Bernard Hopkins. How long did his career last? Really, you've got to look at it. One big win over a marquee name. We'll see what he does in the next couple of years or the next couple.
Yeah, but he took a lot of punishment with Hopkins, and that second one.
But to be fair,
decision should have went to Hopkins.
Bibble shouldn't be fighting anyway. He's Russian, so we should sanction him. But anyway,
no. Don't penalize the athlete because of Putin. That's a whole different story.
We'll move on.
Yeah.
Right. Amir Khan has retired.
Good. And so did Kell Brook.
Yeah.
Yeah, they both retired. Kell Brook and it's funny because they both had that whole thought of fighting Conor Ben. Like there was rumors of both of them gonna fight Conor Ben. But Amir Khan retired. That's cool. Kudos to him. He had a decent enough career. Like, of course, everybody's not going to be the greatest, but he could hold his head. He could hold his head high. Silver champion, right? He was a silver champion, right?
Yeah, he was good. I mean, he won a lot of fights against some very good fighters. Carlos Maidana, various different people. He just was chinny. That was his problem. I mean, he went up against Canelo when other people wouldn't. So you got to take your hat off to the guy. And also to Kell Brook. I always liked Kell Brook. I think he was an excellent boxer puncher. And, I wish these guys happiness and health. That's what I do.
Yeah, Kell Brook said, he's not in it. His last fight he wanted to end his career with was to fight his rival, which was Amir Khan. He don't need to fight Conor Ben. He don't need to try to fight Chris Eubank. He's like, unless of course they give him $10 million, which Eddie Hearn was saying that it ain't worth $10 million for a Conor Ben fight. So he basically priced himself out.
Because I've watched Brook's career, obviously 3 or 4 years earlier than you guys did, were aware of him. When I saw him come up when he beat the Matthew Hattons, I was impressed. He was the best of what we had. The best welterweight we've probably ever had in 30 or 40 years. Do you know what I mean? And he was up there, as good as the American guys, just below in his prime. He was, not far off from being as good as those top guys.
Well, he was better than one of them.
The only person I wanted to see him fight, which he never did, was Manny Pacquiao, because they were both very fast. But I think Pacquiao would have won.
But he can't have any regrets in his career. He's probably got 1 or 2, but I'd say he did well. I
always say that decision to fight Triple G.
Oh yeah, ruined his career.
While it got him what, like $3 million or $4 million
Yeah.
for the fight or whatever. It kind of like he was on pace to fight Vargas to unify the IBF and the WBO,
Yeah.
right? Because Vargas had the WBO at the time. He dropped out to fight what's it called, and then Vargas wound up fighting
Yeah.
Pacquiao. So if he
Yeah.
fought Vargas and beat Vargas, Pacquiao might have fought him
Yeah.
for 2 belts. You know, like he made a decision to fight Triple G instead of pursuing the unification,
Yeah.
which, you know, it wound up costing him because he had to defend the title his next fight against Errol Spence,
Yeah.
and he had to
had the
drop
eye
all of that weight.
and he
You
had the
know,
eye
with,
problems. So, well, he was having weight trouble. That's why he went up to GGG, because he was having weight trouble
Yeah.
getting to 147. So, you know,
yeah, but he had to
Cleveland,
come
he
back
goes
down to
through,
get it. Yeah, he can't do it
but
now.
he had the balls to do it.
Yeah,
And
without
that's good.
question, without question, kudos. You know, I'm just, you know, making an assessment of another path that his career could have went down if he would have made one other, you know, one slight alteration with a decision making.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. If you decide to fight GGG, you're going to be in a war.
Yeah. The problem
Yeah.
with Amir Khan was when he lost to Lamont Peterson, that's when it started going wrong a decade ago. Do you remember that fight when he lost to Peterson?
Yeah.
That's when it all went wrong for me. You know, he had his 2 years as champion. He walked away, made a lot of money, you know. But we all know he was past it 10 years ago, you know.
Yeah, but he did towards the end of his career. Amir Khan did kind of cash out with some decent fights.
Oh, yeah. Devon Alexander was his best performance, in my opinion. Him and that and the Maidana are his 2 best performances that stand out for me.
Well, if you remember watching this last fight with Brooke, he had no legs. Brooke tapped him on the chin and his legs went out. You know, he couldn't get his legs under him.
I was just saying, like, you know, his last few fights, the Khan fight, obviously, he got a pay-per-view out of Crawford. He got the Canelo fight. You know, his last few years, he got a few paydays, some big paydays.
He cashed out, didn't he? And I don't blame him. You know, he had no choice. If you're coming at the end of your career, you get a big fight, you take it. You know,
and he was beating Bud until he got caught in what, the 5th round?
I would like to see him. I would like to see him have one more fight against a very guy who's not very good. You know, a top 50 guy, and then walk away.
So he could walk away with a win.
Yeah, it just fights.
So he could fight
top 50. Someone who
Josh Kelly. Josh Kelly would be the only one I would suggest he fight.
I'm not even sure he beats him. And if he'd fought Conor Benn, he would have got destroyed. Yeah, he would have got smashed to pieces.
Same or what's it called? Yeah,
probably not Brooke, but
Khan, like as you were saying before, he was beating Bud. Khan does that a lot in fights. He wins early, and then, you know, someone catches up to him.
Yeah. In other breaking news, the Floyd Mayweather fight has been cancelled because the United Arab Emirates president has just died. They've got to have 42 days mourning.
Yeah.
Oh boy. That's too bad.
Right.
So the fights that, like Badu Jack's fight is called off then, I suppose.
Yeah, everything's
on. Of course, yeah. The whole card is done. And
there was one more thing. Let me see. There was other news. What's his name? Lucas Brown will be fighting. What's his name? Junior Farr.
Oh God, Farr's going to kill him. I mean, I understand they're both from the same country. It's a payday for both of them.
Farr's from New Zealand and Brown.
Nah. They're just from the same oceanic region.
Yeah, they're in the same area, so that fight makes sense. But Lucas Brown is washed up.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. But Junior Farr didn't what's it called? This beat Junior Farr before?
Parker did, yeah.
Parker did by decision.
Yeah. So Farr's a good fight.
So Farr probably needs. Is that his last win? I mean, his last fight was versus Parker. Or he had a fight after that.
Last year.
I don't think he had a fight after that.
Win.
No, he didn't.
So he probably doing that for a win. It's somebody that is known in the area.
And it's WBA for the WBA Oceania titles and the IBF.
And he was a former heavyweight champion, right? He was a former heavyweight champion.
Yeah, he was.
WBA. But this is just purely for rankings. That's all this fight's for. his belt. So.
Yeah, this is to probably put Junior Fall back into like some type of standing so
Lucas
that somebody.
Brown is so shot, it's not even funny. He's 43, shouldn't even be fighting, in my opinion. But hey,
Junior Fall better look impressive.
And also,
that's true.
Tony Yoka will be fighting Martin Bacall, which is a really good fight. I'm picking
that's a good
Yoka
one.
to win. By late.
That's a good one. Yeah, I would go with Yoka. That's right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that one too. I would go with Yoka too.
So, what do we think of Castano and Charlo tomorrow?
I want to say. You want to say it? Say it. I want to say Castano, but I think Charlo going to win.
Yeah,
it's going to be a rough and tough fight. It's
a
tough one.
I like.
Hopefully,
Castano. I want Castano to win. Not a fan of Charlo at all.
And
I'm not really.
I might cry
again. Boots is on that card too, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah, and he's versus homeboy. Isn't that guy the Canadian dude they call like a welterweight Caleb Plant?
Clayton, yeah.
Clayton. Yeah. So that fight should be interesting too. That one should be a good one.
Yeah, he's 19-0, which is a decent record against 20-0. So, but I think Ennis is like a cut above here.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is a decent card for it to be a free ass card.
Yeah, it is. No, is it not pay-per-view?
No, it's on Showtime. It's on regular Showtime.
That's right. Showtime.
On YouTube in England, you get to see it for free.
And it's on, I was about to say, and they showing it on YouTube in the UK.
PBC? Is that PBC?
It's on Showtime. It's a premium network. It's like HBO used to be, but it's Showtime. They show movies.
HBO boxing, Showtime boxing.
Showtime Championship Boxing, yeah.
Right. That's a good one. So, good news is that the authorities are not going to charge Mike Tyson or prosecute him for anything for that altercation on the plane.
That's good, because the guy was bothering him, antagonizing him.
Oh, yeah, man. That's crazy. Crazy.
Like, you better not mess with Mike.
We've got 10 minutes left. I'm going to set up another one because we didn't get enough time on this because we're all late coming here today. So it could.
Well, what about the fight we were talking about with what's his name fighting Fury?
Huey Fury
against Mark Hunter. Yeah, it's been agreed.
That's another good one that's coming up. Yeah, that's a decent one. They had they mentioned another fight on there that was. I think they was mentioning. They was mentioning the damn what's it called? They mentioned the Nathan's favorite fighter, Don King protege, Trevor Bryan versus.
Oh God!
They was showing they was talking about the flyer, and I'm like, I looked at the flyer, I'm like, yo, I could have did a better job doing that on my
that was terrible, man.
My Microsoft published. I could have did a better job on that.
He's penny pinching everything he could get, isn't he?
Yeah, because he's not the man anymore.
No, that's
still
for sure.
worth 150 million pounds.
I wonder like how much he gets off of these, because he still has like a few fighters that actually
one of his champions.
Yeah.
But I think Trevor Bryan, I think he could take Fury.
You know what?
Trevor Bryan.
There's another interesting fight this weekend that I've got here. There's a fight card which I'm going to watch, actually pay £8 for. And it's headlined by Kovalev against Tervel Pulev.
Oh yeah, well I get to watch that for free.
This is crazy.
Well, it's not for free because it's part of my monthly subscription. I'll subscribe to Fight TV.
Stream. I'm not paying £8 for it. Forget it. And then you've got
I got a subscription to Fight TV. Cause they have a thing called they call it Triller. They do the verses on there on Fight TV. So when they have like the different rap battles or the different R&B groups that battle each other, they have that. But sometimes they'll have a fight card on it. I went to one in Madison Square Garden when Michael Hunter fought Mike Wilson. I went to that fight, and they had the locks and the diplomats battling on the
I
verses.
do watch some of the fight TV cards. If it's a heavyweight, like the Daniel Bryan card, if that's on fight, I'll pay for it. Did you know what I mean? But it's only because I'm a big fan of Kubrat Pulev. Pulev's fighting Jerry Forrest. That's an interesting fight. That's going to be really close.
Yeah, that'll be good. That's a good matchup.
I might actually go on an outside bet. I think it's going to go. I'm going to go Pulev split decision. It's going to be that close.
I'm going with Forrest.
Usyk has been upgraded in Ring and Magazine to pound for pound.
Really?
He's pound for pound number one. Yeah, they mentioned that too. He's pound for pound number one. However, Fury is the number one heavyweight.
He is the number one. Yeah, it's kind of a juxtaposition, huh?
Yeah, like he's the pound for pound guy. And I think they probably basing it partly because he was the former undisputed cruiserweight, three-belt holder, heavyweight. So he moved up divisions.
That's okay by me. But what do you think of Deontay Wilder? You think he's going to come back and fight for the WBC title?
Yeah.
I think he will. I think he might do that. He might fight the winner of Ortiz-Ruiz if Ruiz wins.
But there's a thing of saying that because obviously Parker is going to try and fight. What's his name? He's going to try and fight.
He's fighting Joe Joyce.
Yeah. So that could be for the belt. It shouldn't be, but I think they're saying the winner of that could fight Wilder. But for me, Wilder needs a warm-up fight. Just one quick warm-up fight, and then straight into so he gets back to winning weight. You can't get a title shot off two back-to-back losses. In my opinion.
Well, you shouldn't, but this we talking about the
same
WBC.
Thing happened with Andrew Galata. He got 3 world title shots in a row.
With who?
Andrew Galata. When he was managed by Don King, got 3 title shots in a row.
Well, you see, Don King had the stable, and he just put people together.
That's the early 2000s. That's like the mid 2000s.
I remember Andrew Galata very well, and the low blows and the breakdowns in the ring, and Tyson getting disqualified because he was high, smoking pot before the fight, and all that stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah,
but I think drug testing now has become a joke. What was it? They knocked on Canelo's door and he didn't answer one time, and they went away. Vada. It's like, come on, man. Are we doing this or what?
Yeah, like if they don't really care that the athletes take things, but they got to make it look to the public that they are caring.
Right.
Because they don't care if the players what they doing, really.
Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, we got 4 minutes left. What else
so we'll
the what's it called fight is on this weekend too. There's another fight.
Kovalev fight on that card.
What's it called? Gilberto Ramirez.
Yeah, he's fighting against Dominic Boza. I think I've got the card here in front of me. Let me have a look.
Now, where do you guys put him in the mix with the light heavyweights between Beterbiev and Bivol?
He's one of the top.
Think he could beat? You think he could beat those guys, though?
Yeah. No, I don't know. He's got a chance.
I got to see more from him because I've yet to see something that would say that he could beat those guys yet. But
I haven't seen him in there with a really big puncher who could really, bang him.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I want to see him. Like, Kovalev is at cruiserweight, so he can't fight him.
But should we say that Ramirez's career is sort of like he won the title against Abraham, then he didn't really do anything. He defended his title 6-7 times in 5 years, and we never really saw much from him. He's got no real fanfare, has he? For me personally, not really.
Well, who's taken the play away from him? Coming up in the same division was Canelo.
Yeah, he's and he was with what's it called for a minute, Top Rank, and Top Rank was not focusing on him so much.
Right.
I mean
he's 6'6". He's massive. 6'4". He's massive.
Yeah. He a tall guy, man, especially for somebody that was lounging around at middleweight for the length of time that he was. But he had 2 of his victories was against Jesse Hart.
Yeah. I think he should target Joe Smith. He's the weakest champion out of all of them. He's the weak link in the chat.
Well,
we'll see what
he got-
happens.
he got to fight. He got to beat him first.
Yeah.
But he could still fight Joe Smith.
For me, Joe Smith,
because Joe Smith is he's a hard puncher.
He's a good fighter, but he's got no real skill, has he? He's just a man who punches hard. He can move around a bit more than what he used to. He's
got some skill. He's improved, but he's not an
elite
elite boxer.
He's never going to beat the top guys. The super top guys like the Bativi. He could, but I just don't see it.
While we can, do you think this fight with Ryan Garcia and Cruz is going to come off?
No.
Ryan Garcia acting as if he is, so we'll see.
You see his last fight; he didn't look impressive to me.
No, but that was after a long layoff and all of that other stuff. So maybe that's what he needed to get better for the next fight. Cruz is probably more willing than Ryan Garcia is, but Ryan Garcia in the public space anyway is acting as if he's going to take it. So
right, guys, we've run out of time, I'm afraid.
We got a minute left to wrap up. So I enjoyed this, guys. Thank you for coming on and letting me come on. It was fun.
No problem.
And
no doubt.
We're up in the air about who takes it tomorrow night with Charlo, and it's kind of like a 50-50 fight.
Okay, we've just about ended. I'm just going to